Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. We are so glad that you are here for today's research-informed defensive lesson. Every day at Active Self-Protection, we post a real-life use of force caught on camera so that your training and your practice can be more informed. In fact, we're the only channel in the world coming at self-defense encounters from a research-informed perspective. I am your host, John Correa.
And I'm use of force expert, Stephanie Widener.
Today's video is sponsored by Vici Tactical Belts. This belt is the belt that I wear in formal or professional attire. I really like it and I recommend it highly. It's made out of real leather with a solid stainless steel belt buckle. You can see it is quite rigid vertically, but it has good torsional flexibility, which is exactly what you want for a great concealed carry belt. Works great in professional environments, formal wear, all the way down to casual wear too. It's the belt that I wear in formal attire like a suit. I recommend it highly. Please check them out at the link below. Just another day in Sao Paulo do Sul, yes, real Sao Paulo, where this guy rolls up on his moto, points a gun at these folks, a couple of them run off, but this woman is not able to, and so he is going to mug her. He is going to take her iPhone, and he is going to take her wallet, and then he is going to put those, in his pocket and then ride off. He puts his gun away before he rides off too. Now, all that was seen by a bystander, and that bystander is going to put this guy over the hood. Unfortunately, that didn't disable our aggressor, who is then going to jump up with his gun in his hand and shoot our bystander self-defender in the head fatally. And we can see it from another angle here. You're going to see it. It did open up the radiator on his truck when he put him over the hood, and he popped this guy, and unfortunately, our bystander did not make it, and they are still looking for the perpetrator here. All right, fun fact. I bet you didn't know this, but Stephanie is one of the very first Force Science Advanced Force Science Specialist graduates from a non-sworn perspective.
Oh, such a great course. We learned so much that we're able to bring back to these videos to use to analyze these use of force encounters in a much more research-informed way.
So why is Stephanie here all the time? Because quite frankly, she's one of the leading experts in the country on the issue. You know, Steph, whenever we do one of these out of Sao Paulo, I know people are like, well, yeah, but this is just South America, John. We could transport this absolutely whole cloth to New York City, to Detroit, to New Orleans, to Dallas, for goodness sakes, or San Francisco or Seattle. This is exactly the kind of stuff that we're seeing in major metropolitan areas all over, which is why we cover incidents from all over the world.
It's absolutely true. Violence tends to be violence. Sometimes there's different kind of characteristics or flavors. I remember once in the early days, we had someone complaining about showing machete attacks. So I started Googling machete attacks in the US and found dozens of news stories. So even when we don't think we have that kind of crime where we're at, often we do, and we're just not aware of it.
And listen, is this small town America crime? No, but about 85% of the American population lives in the suburbs or in urban areas. And so this is a very kind of suburban area. This is very common. This is probably where 80% of Americans live. And so this can happen to you too. Now, I want to recognize here that there are multiple people present initially. There's some that are a little bit farther away from him, but one in particular who he is focusing on. Now, of course, if you can get out of the danger zone, which the other two people probably have a better shot of doing, and we see them doing that and running off here, then that's a great answer. If you can run away, get away from the guy's circle of influence and go for it. But this woman here, she's kind of stuck. And even if she was carrying a firearm, remember, if he's got his eyes on you and a gun on you, then in you trying to draw your gun, you're drawing from the drop, and that's a great way to die. So the unfortunate truth is sometimes the best answer is simply to comply.
And we know that compliance won't guarantee you a favorable outcome, but even, like you say, even if she did have some way of defending herself, she would at least have to engage in purposeful compliance until she was able to open up a window to effectively defend herself. And we don't really see that, and I think she made a really good decision here. And like you, I think it was a great decision to see the other bystanders heck out of there.
And listen, I'm not saying she couldn't have defended herself. She absolutely could. She had every right to shoot this guy if she was armed. He's pointing a gun at her and threatening her with death. But did she have the opportunity, right? Just because she has the right to do something, did she have the opportunity to do it? I don't really see it here, though there is that kind of break in the middle. So it's possible that that opportunity showed up like what we saw right there. and then didn't end up making it on camera. But he leaves. Now let's think about being the bystander here. You see this go down, you see him have a gun, and you choose to get involved. Okay, first of all, I want to applaud this guy. He's like, no, that's not happening on my watch. But you know, the first thing I want to talk about here, Steph, is I could see the fact here that number one, I really think that he hit him pretty hard, but what's your plan if that doesn't disable the guy? I mean, the challenge here is, what are you going to do otherwise if it doesn't work like it didn't here?
Yeah, like you, I think this is a good person trying to get involved, tired of seeing people being victimized and trying to step in and help. He saw him threatening people's lives over property, so I applaud him for getting involved here. A truck like this is a great weapon, especially if you don't have a firearm. It's probably a better weapon than a firearm, actually. But just like a firearm, there's no guarantees for the outcome that you're looking for here. And what we see here is our bad guy just kind of gets up, almost like nothing happened. So without any guarantees, you probably have to have some skills, some plans to back some things up, particularly if you're going to get involved, because the stakes are so high, as we will see here.
Yeah, related incident here, related issue, right? Like if you're a motorcyclist, wear all the gear all the time, because you might be able to survive something like this where otherwise, you're a closed casket funeral. The second piece here, he's fleeing. Okay, he's fleeing a violent felony. So I think in a lot of places, because people are fed up with violent crime, you're probably going to get away with this. But I could see an overzealous prosecutor who might say, you know what? There's no imminent threat of death or great bodily harm, so using deadly force on this guy in the moment is probably not okay, and you could end up facing scrutiny for that. Hopefully not charges, but you'll spend an awful lot, and this guy at the very least is spending a couple $1,000s on his car to get it repaired and all that. So not to mention the fact the much bigger issue is the issue of consequences. When we talk about getting involved in a deadly force encounter, in a third-party encounter, incidents like this are exactly why. Because this guy pops right up and then turns around, and when our guy gets out, he shoots him in the head. And of course, our good Samaritan here pays with his life. And this is an unfortunate reality, something that we have to pay attention to. And of course, if he could go back and do it all over again, he wouldn't get involved. But you and I don't get the benefit of that. We don't get that hindsight bias. We have to make the right choice in advance. And I know people get frustrated at us, Steph, when we say don't get involved as a default, but this is why.
It's a lot. Even when you're, rightfully defending your own life without any questions or ambiguity or murkiness to your self-defense case, the process is so incredibly difficult that we talk about the idea that you really are putting all your chips in the center of the table, your family, your home, even in cases of very clear, righteous self-defense. And I don't say that to discourage people from defending themselves. I mean, our entire business's mission is to try to help and equip people to defend themselves. And I know that there are people that could not live with themselves afterwards witnessing something like this and driving away from it. But we do want you to go in fully informed and make decisions in the calmness of your own home where you have time to consider, because you are betting a lot. And if you know that you are the type of person that needs to get involved, you can probably put some training and ideas and plans in place to better protect and defend yourself and your assets and your loved ones and all of those things to ensure yourself the best possible outcome. And I also don't want to, while I applaud this guy for getting involved, it's also not wrong to not get involved. We all have the same abilities and opportunities to learn to defend ourselves. And you make that decision for you and for your family. And I've spent a lot of time deciding what my personal boundaries are and lines in the sand are, and what I'm willing to do and not to do, and what I'm willing to risk everything over. And we may all come to different decisions on that. I just want you to come to the decision that you can live with. I think this is a good man in the world, and the world is less because he is not here. And that's tragic. So please think about it and consider it before you see something that offends your conscience so badly that you get involved and you're not able to effectively mitigate it.
And of course, the effect is not only on you, but on your loved ones. This man was married. He has a wife. I don't know if he had children or not. That's not stated in the news story. But they are affected as well, right? Your loved ones are affected. So involve them in the decision-making process and think about them. Would they be okay without you? And if the answer to that is no, then you can't get involved in stuff like this. Finally, as part of spiritual fitness, I want you to pay attention to this perp who just coldly murdered a man, has just committed armed robbery, and then coldly murdered a man, and then trots off to go and do more malfeasance. And this is their moral code, friends. This is the moral code of somebody who's willing to do violent felonies like this. He will probably go home and have a sandwich and not give it another thought. And this is the kind of bad guy that you got to worry about. This is the kind of bad guy who just indiscriminately and randomly will commit acts of heinous violence. And this is what you've got to learn to protect yourself, which is why spiritual fitness is so important, right? You made sure that you've said everything you need to say to your loved ones. You've lived a good, sane, sober, moral, prudent life so that you've made a difference in your world. And you and Jesus have a strong relationship because you will need it on that day and may not have time to get it. That perp, on the other hand, doesn't probably give any of that stuff another thought. He instead is living for the moment and whatever is best for him. You got to do what's best for you to cover your asp.